On December 14th, Andrew Tate didn't hold back. He confronted Jake Paul right out in the open, and trust me, it was something to see. At an event, Jake, the so-called boxer, started running his mouth, probably trying to steal some spotlight like he always does. Maybe he thought it was just another chance to throw some trash talk around and keep it playful. But what he didn't realize was this wasn't a ring. There were no production crews, no carefully planned hype reels, no WWE-style scripts. It was raw, unfiltered, and suddenly very real.
Champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you.
Jake Paul, the internet star turned boxer who's built a career on controversy, call-outs, and carefully curated matchups. Depending on who you ask, he's either a genius marketer redefining the sport or a walking gimmick exploiting it. Either way, he's always in the headlines, and exactly how he likes it.
The biggest clown on the fucking internet. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, calm and calculated as ever, approached Jake in the only way he knows how. Direct, intense, and unapologetic. He wasn't there for a war of words or a camera-friendly back and forth. He was there to make a point. You don't? Run your mouth about Andrew Tate and walk away without consequences.
Whatever conditions you want.
2 brothers, 1 cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful.
In that split-second encounter, it looked like reality finally hit Jake. This wasn't a YouTube skit, a rehearsed face-off, or some influencer drama with a script. No punches were thrown, but Tate's sheer presence was enough to shake the act. For just a moment, you could see it in Jake's eyes. The bravado cracked. That unspoken, oh, he's actually serious. Realization. Priceless. There's real history between Jake Paul and Andrew Tate, and it goes far beyond the typical influencer beef. This isn't just YouTuber versus social media star, it's personal. Or at least as personal as it can get between 2 hyper-confident, borderline arrogant figures who've built their empires on attention and controversy. But sometimes chasing the spotlight brings more heat than either of them is ready for, and that's when things get messy. Andrew Tate doesn't need the paycheck. With a reported net worth north of $700 million, money isn't his motivator, respect is. And that's exactly what was at stake when this feud started brewing. The tension really began when Jake Paul, after padding his record with what many consider low-tier opponents, started name-dropping some heavy hitters for his next fight. One of those names? Mike Tyson, a living legend. A man you don't casually call out unless you're either genuinely confident or foolish enough to think you can trade blows with one of the most feared fighters in history. Jake wasn't just chasing a win. He was chasing headlines, pay-per-view millions, and viral fame. The Tyson call-out wasn't about sport. It was about spectacle. But Tyson, he saw right through it. With decades in the fight game, he could smell a cash grab from a mile away and had no interest in playing the role of prize in Jake's latest publicity stunt. That left Jake scrambling. With Tyson out, he needed someone else to keep the hype train rolling, and that's where Andrew Tate stepped in. Tate saw the cracks. Jake was calling out legends but dodging real threats. And for someone like Tate, who built his name on calling out fake toughness and walking the walk in the world of kickboxing, this was the perfect moment to strike. He didn't just challenge Jake. He dared him, loudly, publicly, and with every ounce of his trademark swagger. This wasn't some exhibition. This wasn't a sparring session dressed up with ring girls and YouTube thumbnails. Tate made it clear. This was about serious money and even more serious pride. He didn't want to just beat Jake. He wanted to expose him, and for a moment, it looked like that challenge might actually lead somewhere. Until Jake once again chose the path of least resistance.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And
He's
two,
not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
And it's
say,
funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul. Well,
Andrew Tate, already worth a staggering $710 million, wasn't chasing fame or fortune. He had both in abundance. What he wanted was to make a statement. Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed boxing phenom, had been handpicking flashy opponents and dodging real competition. While Jake was busy clout chasing by calling out legends, Tate saw through the act. This fight wasn't about adding another win to a record or boosting social media stats. For Tate, it was about proving a point, that he, not Jake, was the one with genuine combat credentials. A world champion with a real legacy, Tate stepped up, not for the spotlight, but to expose the gap between internet hype and authentic skill. This wasn't a money grab. It was a mission to show Jake Paul and everyone watching the difference between performance and pedigree.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
And how much was this fight worth? Oh, just a casual $50 million, no big deal. Picture it. Jake Paul, the self-made social media mogul who's been cashing massive checks with each headline-grabbing bout, stepping into the ring with Andrew Tate, a multi-time kickboxing world champion, internet icon, and a man whose bank account already overflows with $710 million. But here's the difference. Tate didn't need the money. He didn't need the fame. What he wanted was to prove a point. While Jake built his boxing career off spectacle and hand-picked matchups, Tate had been mastering combat long before Jake ever laced up a glove. This fight wasn't just another payday for Tate, it was a statement. He could have coasted off his wealth, picked any fight, or walked away from the spotlight entirely. But he didn't, because for Tate, this was personal, and that's what separates him from the hype.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future.
Now let's talk about Jake Paul for a second, because, well, he's Jake Paul, and with him, you can always count on one thing. He'll never shut up. After Andrew Tate called him out, Jake didn't back down. Oh no, he did exactly what Jake Paul does best. Talk trash. He couldn't resist throwing more insults, questioning Tate's fighting ability, and acting like he was the master of words. Let's be real though, Jake's brand of trash talk isn't exactly Shakespearean. He took to Instagram, ranting that Andrew Tate was just a washed-up fighter trying to stay relevant, dismissing him as nothing more than an internet personality. "I'm the future of boxing," Jake declared, "and I'm going to crush him." There it was, the classic Jake Paul move. He called Andrew Tate washed up, just like he has with every other fighter who didn't immediately bow down to him. But, if we're being honest, was that a smart move? Probably not. Andrew Tate wasn't the type to let those words slide, and Jake should have known that. Tate's not the kind of guy who just sits back when someone questions his reputation. With his wealth of experience in combat sports, he knows how to make a statement. But Jake Paul, true to form, couldn't help himself. The more Jake talked, the deeper he dug his own hole. The world watched as Tate calmly responded, daring Jake to step into the ring. Jake, with his Twitter fingers, kept firing back. But what happened next? Things escalated, and Jake was about to learn a valuable lesson. One does not simply trash talk Andrew Tate without expecting consequences. Then came Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated king of boxing, stepping in with a swift and brutal reality check. After Jake rejected a fight with Andrew Tate, like a bill he forgot to pay, Mayweather took the opportunity to destroy him. This is the same Jake Paul who loves to shout from the rooftops about fighting anyone, anywhere, anytime. Turns out, that offer doesn't apply to people who might actually have the skill to knock his ego, and him, flat on the mat. And let's not forget Floyd Mayweather, sitting on the sidelines like a disappointed parent. Floyd didn't just call Jake out, he tore him apart. He branded Jake a cherry picker, accusing him of only stepping into the ring with opponents he knows he can beat. Let's be real, Floyd's not wrong. Jake's fights aren't about proving himself as a boxer, they're about curating a highlight reel for YouTube, just like he did here.
He does tend to keep those guards down, but he's comfy at that point.
The scuffle was brief. There was no need for it to be anything more. The message had already been delivered. Jake Paul, the loud, cocky social media star who had been running his mouth for so long, was finally face-to-face with someone who wasn't, afraid to put him in his place, and that's exactly what happened. The media went into a frenzy, with headlines blaring, "Andrew Tate attacks Jake Paul," and the internet had a field day. But here's the key. Tate wasn't trying to destroy Jake Paul. He didn't have to. He had already taken what mattered. Jake. Paul, on the other hand, learned the hard way what happens when you challenge the wrong person. Andrew Tate's street confrontation wasn't just another celebrity incident. It was a message. If you're Jake Paul, you need to understand something from this. Respect isn't something you can just talk into existence. You have to earn it. So next time you throw around insults, maybe think twice. Because there are people like Andrew Tate out there who'll remind you how fragile that manufactured confidence really is.